Welcome back, Overture Fishing family, to another episode of Hooked on Overture. And today, we're going to get a little wacky. So in our previous video, we discussed a few items that you want to take with you before your day on the water. Those are all very important, so make sure you check out that last video for those details. But we're going to go ahead and jump right in today to what's called the Wacky Rig technique. You're going to need 4 specific things to accomplish this technique of fishing. The first one is going to be a spinning reel and rod with line. The bait we're going to use is a stick bait. Now I know a lot of times when you go into your tackle shop, there's all these different colors and it can get very overwhelming. You have the entire rainbow to choose from. So to make that simple, we're going to look at just 2 different color options today. If the water is clear, we're going to go with green pumpkin. Now there's a lot of different varieties of green pumpkin. I don't want you to worry about that. As long as it's some type of green pumpkin, that'll work. The other option is when the water is murky. Maybe it just rained. Maybe there's a lot of silt in the water that day for some reason. That is when we're going to pick up our black and blue flake or some form of black and blue color. The next item we're going to need is a Wacky Rig tool, and I'll show you why that's important here in just a moment. Lastly, we need a #1 Wacky Rigged hook. And so basically all of these items are going to tie together to create the Wacky Rigged fishing technique. So the first part in rigging the bait is to take your stick worm. You find about where the middle of that worm is by touching the 2 ends. Once you find the center of that worm, hold it with your hands here. Then you take your Wacky Rig tool. You're going to insert the worm up into that middle port. Take one of the small O-rings here from the tool. Slide it down the tool like that until you get it onto the worm itself. Just like so. Once you've got your O-ring on the worm and you've got your hook, all you do is take the hook, slip it under the O-ring and out through the bait. Just like that. The great thing about this bait is it's actually impregnated with salt. So what that's going to do is as that bait slowly sinks, it's going to have a flutter action, which is really going to entice the fish to bite. Now the way you fish this is very simple. You're just going to flip the bell of your rod, you're going to make a light cast out, and as soon as the bait hits the water, you're going to start counting. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next, what you're going to do is you're just going to lift the rod tip, reel in your slack, and start the counting process all over again. Now there's no question that the fishing industry has exploded during the times that we're in right now. Go into any local bait and tackle shop and you'll be hard pressed not to find empty shelves of baits. A great way for you to social distance while you're fishing is, remember, most rods are 6 to 7 feet long. If I hold that out and it doesn't touch my buddy, we are in great social distance contact. Now what I'm going to do when I walk up to a body of water to decide where I want to fish is something I always remember that a great fisherman named Roland Martin said: bass don't have eyelids. They need to go to shade. They need to find cover. So when I walk up here, I'll see grass mats on top of the water. I see sticks pointing out of the water. And farther in the back, I even see shade. Those are going to be great high percentage areas for you to start with. But there's nothing wrong with bringing a chair, sitting on the bank, and just making a few casts out deep as well. Remember, fishing is supposed to be fun, so it's not always about catching a lot of fish. Sometimes it's just about getting out there on the water, You know, some of the most beautiful things I've seen in nature have been while I was fishing, whether it be the blue herrings out here eating the bait fish, whether it be otters or alligators swimming around the water. We miss so much of these things when we're sitting inside and cooped up. And right now you've got a great reason to get outside and enjoy the outdoors and maybe pick up fishing as your next hobby. Now for those of you watching this video, I absolutely understand this doesn't look like any natural forage that a fish would eat. That's why it's called the Wacky Rig. It's just that. It's wacky, it's goofy. It doesn't look natural. But trust me, as a tournament angler, 95% of the field is going to have this rig tied onto their boat. When you need that one last fish or you need to get back in the standings, this is the presentation that those guys are going to pick up. Skipping it under docks, throwing it out towards the wood or the shadows that we were discussing earlier. It's a go-to bait, and it's probably caught more fish than the next 5 techniques below it combined. It's just a great way to put fish on the bank.